One thing we want to address this week, and I'm not sure this is not a produced segment at all, so things kind of come based on what's being asked. We are dropping our Ashes to Asphalt video at 12:15, so 15 minutes after this is over. It will be live on YouTube. It is currently staged up on YouTube with a premiere time of 12:15 p.m. Pacific time. That's the time we have here on the West Coast. um, and so we haven't said much about this. Have we talked about it at all?
I don't think so.
The
No, because we
fire
wanted to wait for this video to come
to
out.
come up because it's
It took a little longer than I think we were planning for the video to
there
get
were some rumors. Yeah, the video. Unfortunately, this video was supposed to be done in December, but that was optimistic, and these things never get done as quickly as they're supposed to. So, anyways, we're finishing up the video this weekend with our friends at Amola Media who helped us produce this. So they can confirm that we didn't just suddenly edit this video Sunday morning,
Right.
which
Yes,
this
didn't just happen.
we've been accused of. But the this thing happened. When was it? November?
November 17th.
November 17th. Yeah, around November 16th or 17th. And the video
It was
goes
right
into
right before our drag day.
and explains everything that happened. But one of our development B9S4 vehicles caught fire and essentially burnt to the ground on like a Tuesday night. And again, we produced a 10-minute video. It will be live in an hour or so. But this interesting thing happened, which we haven't said much about it because we wanted to present this video, which explains the whole thing. There's really no better way for us to talk about it, and you can't really blame us because there's the idea of someone's car burning down is a volatile thing, right? And so then there's questions and accusations and assumptions and conspiracy theories, all which we've seen this weekend, as I'll explain. But we didn't really need to bring it up because this video explained it all really nicely and put it all together. So this interesting thing happened where, so we filed an insurance claim because the car was insured and it was an accident. And we got the claim paid out recently. It took forever. But we sent the car to Copart to have the estimate done. And they gave us a very fair price. We originally intended on buying the car back, but they wanted like a ton of money. Like, what was it? Like,
I want to say it was almost 20 grand.
yeah, it was like 16 or 17 grand to buy the car back. And I don't know why they thought it was worth that much. We would have bought it back for sure if it was 5 grand, maybe 10 grand, and then we could have rebuilt the car or turned it into a race car.
I really wanted to keep it as a dev vehicle.
It's a lot of work though, and we're really busy, and our engineering resources, can be put to a lot of good use. And rebuilding a burnt car that you could buy for 38 grand, really didn't make a lot of sense. So we passed on the car, and I figured that Copart was just going to part it out. Well, it showed up on the Copart auction site this weekend, like on Saturday, and instantly some of our friends who are trolls decided to jump all over it and try to make it a bad thing. So I believe Mario Maleri may have been the first that I saw.
I missed all that then.
Mario, who has openly lied about draggy times and is a very disingenuous person, and spreads lots of misinformation in the industry, who we've held to task and talked openly about. Anyways, he posted it like this was some big salacious story, and like he just exposed, that I've been sleeping with hookers and paying off, whatever Chinese vendors with hooker as in blow or something. And so I think his post got dragged pretty hard, didn't really go anywhere. And then somebody made a burner account called Panda Clothing, and they also posted it trying to, again, stir up drama and attack us. I don't know if it was like any of our competitors or our friends.
Oh, so that is a burner account? Okay.
It's like it's like a page, but it's like a brand new account with like no history. They'd never posted in any of the Audi groups, so it's like
Just joined that group that day.
yeah. Interesting enough, I'm not saying it's Damon, but Damon kind of disappeared last week and like disappeared off social media. So I don't know what happened there. And then Peter Blaze.
Tie that together, but yeah.
No, I'm saying I'm not, but it's just kind of odd how he disappeared. And then Peter Blaze, the CEO of our competitor, spent the whole weekend going around making trolling comments as well. So we didn't say too much. We just simply made a statement saying, just wait till Monday. Our video should be done by then. Of course, then people took it as, oh, they're rushing to make this video, blah, 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 like that. We were trying to hide it. But when you watch the video, you'll see we did nothing to hide it as far as we embraced it.
Yeah, we highlighted everything that
Yeah,
happened.
there's a couple GIFs though. So.
There is?
Oh no, there's a couple GIFs posted online. It's not real.
Oh, it's not real?
Yeah, from Peter's comments.
What's not real? Oh, that's the on the. Oh, then there was flashing tools Robin too.
I didn't even know.
We announced our
connected from Facebook a bit.
yeah we announced our upcoming flashing capabilities, and it was Pete.
Yeah.
I also decided to troll that extensively, and yeah, I don't know. Apparently that's how he likes to spend his time. I really stay off. That's why I don't troll, and I stay off those groups and let our marketing team deal with it in a professional way. So anyways, I want to dedicate a little bit of time to some of the questions and concerns that came up this weekend about the car burning, and just kind of address those head on. We don't really like to beat around the bush or sweep this kind of stuff under the rug. Nothing bad happened as far as we didn't cause this car to burn down. We didn't do anything wrong. There's nothing inherently bad about our tuning that's going to cause your car to catch on fire. So what happened is this common failure mode on these cars that's coming about, and it's definitely exaggerated as you turn up the boost of power. But these factory PCV hoses have check valves in them, and these check valves are prone to failure. And then when you increase the boost pressure, which stage 3 cars are running a lot of boost, this valve can fail and basically pressurize the crankcase with turbocharger pressure. What happens when the crankcase pressurizes is it loosens the oil cap and basically allows the oil cap to loosen and fall off. And ultimately, that's what happened to our car. And we found the oil cap underneath the turbo.
Completely unscathed.
It flew off, and then oil sprayed under the hood. It was on the fenders. It went everywhere. And it was just a matter of time when this happened during basically a quarter-mile run that we were doing for testing, that it ignited the oil. And once the flames were there, everything that was soaked with oil started burning too.
Yeah, the sound mat on the hood.
That instantly went up.
That propagated a lot of it, because that just started falling under the car, and now you've got fire top and bottom.
And then the fire moved to the passenger side where...
I don't know if you're aware fire can move. It doesn't just stay in one little spot.
Well, that was one
go to fuel sources.
Really intelligent theory that Pete made, was that because the fire burned where the fuel was, that it couldn't have been the oil cap. Like that fire couldn't have moved from one place to the other.
I can go get...
But that's exactly what it did. So the fire started above the turbo, where the oil originated. And then eventually everything kind of on that side of the engine compartment started burning. Once the fuel line went up, fuel went all over the passenger side of the engine compartment. That lit up, and then it actually burned like a fuse down into the interior below the car.
Yeah, so
to the gas
whole reason that side of the car is burned was the OEM fuel line. It just followed
like a fuse,
literally like a fuse in a cartoon, right down underneath the car.
That's a really common thing to happen.
Right before it goes up into the tank. It looks like there's actually we think there's like a factory provision there that actually kept it from going further into the tank. But that was all just that OEM line.
But it's not like, we didn't tighten the fuel line popped off, the fire started, and then the oil cap flew off. Everything originated from the oil cap and moved. So the motor did not blow up. There's no rods out of the motor. There's no issues with the pistons. It's a good motor still in the car. So does this mean anything bad for you? Well, no, absolutely not. Although we have had at least one customer car burned down the same way.
Yep.
And we've heard of other cars burning down that are either stock, the oil cap has popped off, or on other companies' tunes. The tune doesn't cause the oil cap to fall off. It's the failure of the PVC and the pressurization of the crankcase.
PCV too.
What did I say?
PVC.
Oh, PCV.
Some plumbing.
Yeah. I meant to say PCV.
Yep.
So, anyways, no, this is not a concern. However, if you have a 3.0T, you should definitely check your PCV valve to make sure that it's not leaking and that your check valve is functioning. You should also be constantly checking your oil cap because the oil cap does have to loosen before it falls off. Once it falls off, it's very bad.
And on this particular car, they are tragically light on the engagement. Like those caps have no like detent really. So they just kind of like quarter turn and mush to a stop. There's no actual like click. Like
we've even seen them loosen on cars that
without a
that are
PCV
stock.
issue. Because we started obviously getting paranoid and checking these things hypersensitively, and we were seeing some rotation on some of them, even with a good PCV system.
Yeah. It was not an electrical fire, although electrical components were damaged.
There were subsequent issues with some of the harnesses.
Not a fuel fire, although fuel system components caught on fire.
That
everything caught on fire.
propagated.
The aluminum hood caught on fire. The aluminum hood didn't spontaneously catch on fire.
ECU still good.
Pistons are not cracked. The ECU is good. We've tested that. Still working. No rods out of the motor. So, we have kept this. We haven't gone out again talking about it, not because we're ashamed of it. It's because we wanted to release a nice, concise piece and statements about it
because of these kind of comments.
Yeah, and that's our prerogative. I mean, that's up to us. I think anyone in our position would do that as well. Why didn't we come out and say more about it? Well, just because of exactly how this weekend went, where people were trying to use it against us, people were trying to spin it, people were trying to create conspiracy theories and disinformation from it.
And we obviously, well, you'll see in the video, like we videoed. There's a lot of footage around, what followed and what happened after that.
The car also sat out behind our shop for 2 months.
Yeah.
And people did take pictures of it, and there was someone who created like an account, like a fake account around that car. I don't know if you remember that. That was like in December. And it's popped up in some of the groups. Again, people trying to, spin into something it's not. So that's kind of, our position.
Somebody's asking how to mitigate. Yeah, we just talked about that. It was an OEM failure, basically the PCV system. Which
I would put in a new hose if you haven't, and then check it constantly. If you ever smell oil at all, get off the throttle instantly. I think it was a misfortune for us because it happened during this kind of really high intensity testing that we were doing. I think for the average car, if you were on the freeway, you got on the boost, it popped off, and you weren't under high load, the turbo wasn't like smoking hot or glowing. You'd catch it, and so I think the chance of someone's car burning down with this is relatively low, although it's obviously not good. I've had oil in the engine compartment with so many cars
on a bunch of developments.
Never had a catch
like all i5s were just like spewing oil. Any chance you look?
But we will be releasing some products to address this. I'm sure other tuning companies will be as well. It's a Achilles heel problem for these cars.
Definitely something that is, with all of the high boost applications people are running now, it's going to rear its head more and more.
It's actually kind of a surprise it doesn't happen more often. When I first got into turbocharging, it was turbocharging normally aspirated vehicles, and you always had to add check valves and reinforce them or make them stronger. And so, we're probably doubling the boost pressure.
Oh yeah.
On this application. So the check valve wasn't necessarily designed for 30 plus PSI. It was designed for 15 or 18
up
or
to
20
or so.
Yeah. So we're pushing these components past their limits. So in a sense, you're welcome. We go out and we push these things and we find these problems and we highlight it. that's just kind of how it goes. So first car we've had catch on fire ever in 20 years of doing this. I've been tuning cars for even longer than that. Never had a car catch on fire. So if you guys have any more follow-ups,
do we want to talk about
know.
what came after, or wait till the video drops for that?
No, watch the video.
Okay.
It's actually it's a phoenix rising from the ashes story, and we chose to turn it into that. So we are some really opportunistic motherfuckers here at 034 Motorsport. So within 12 hours of the car burning down, we hatched this really cool idea to take it and use it for something awesome. And it took probably about 12 hours to kind of go from shitting bricks and being pissed at the universe to saying, hey, you know, we could actually do something cool with this. So please watch the video. It's mostly me talking, but there's lots of footage. And we do actually turn this into something pretty exciting and cool without giving away the whole story. Definitely check out the video at 12:15. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of us.
Dude, I'm so proud of the team and the way everyone rallied.
It was one of the finest moments at 034.
Yeah, it went from a low point to like shit. Now, everybody rallied, and I couldn't have been more proud of everybody working here.
There's the kind of energy and effort you can get from people like paying them to do their job, but then every once in a while, you know, kind of the humanity of a situation inspires everyone to just go above and beyond, regardless of money or effort or pain or being tired or, you know, anything like that. Yeah. So it was definitely one of those moments where we had literally the whole company shift gears, pitch in. You know, it's kind of like, you know, not saying it is, but like exactly like that. But, you know, like in 9/11, the Republicans and the Democrats came together, like that, and but you know, everyone like helped.
We don't have quite a divided faction here at the shop, but
wasn't that not that type of division, but that type of energy of like something bad happens, let's make it good. So definitely check out the video. If you have any follow-ups, please let us know. As you can see, we're happy to talk about any of that. There's no big conspiracy story here. It's this is actually, you know, pretty normal thing that happens. I'm sure Audi and Volkswagen light cars on fire, crash cars.
Oddly, on my way to work this morning, there was a car on fire on the off ramp.
Yeah, that's like really common here. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you want to like compare stories to some of our competitors. It's, you know, so nothing like that.
Yeah, I just
always appreciate the transparency U034 has with us. Definitely something that's rare nowadays. Thank you for recognizing that. To be honest, or really clear, if we did something wrong, we would also say that. You know?
Yes. Yeah.
You could argue we could have maintained the car better, or, you know, now we check this stuff more often. We're constantly checking our shop 3.0T B9 cars for this issue. We've replaced PCV hoses and all of them. So yeah, if you want to like say that we made a mistake, I'm not going to argue with you. That's your prerogative, but we're just being honest and direct about what happened. And I guess you can make up your own mind if you think. I'm not really here to defend us. I'm just here to like be transparent and tell you what happened, and you can decide for yourself. I think what's disheartening is how our competitors immediately try to spin it as some kind of salacious, terrible thing, and it's just so pitiful. But I guess that's the state of affairs. Can you go into more detail explaining why the PCV system is such a problem point, even amongst aftermarket options such as catch cams and so forth? It seems other issues still arise.
The PCV system is just tricky. It's a tricky concept in general. It's trying to mitigate between, you know, mechanically between a vacuum that you want to always have a vacuum in a crankcase, and then it's, you know, you still want to vent those gases from the crankcase back into a pressurized system on the intake. So it's just a tricky, you know, mechanical process to do well.
The reason the PCV system is a problem point is because it can cause the oil cap to fall off, which will cause your car to burn down. Otherwise, normally, if this happened, you would pressurize your crankcase. You might start seeing some you know, oil smoke coming out your tailpipe. The engine might not run as well. You might get a misfire or a stumble or something,
The
and then you would just diagnose it and figure it out. But if your car burns down from it, then that's what causes this to be a bigger problem. Brand new OEM PCV lines will fix the problem temporarily. What we're seeing is that the factory PCV does not last long term in stock or highly boosted applications. And the more boost you run, the faster the failure mode can happen. So here internally, we have replaced the problematic PCV line with new OEM and with our own aftermarket test units that we're engineering to solve this problem. I don't know how much of a problem it is in aftermarket catch cans. We don't spend a lot of time using other people's products, so we can't say that yes, this aftermarket option will solve the problem. It still stands to reason an aftermarket kit could have the same problem if their PCV hose fails, causes your oil cap to fall off, and makes your car burn down. But it's the oil burning issue that's the real concern here. And even if you kind of like took some vice grips and clamped it onto the oil cap so it couldn't spin, you would eliminate the big problem from this, and you might still pressurize your crankcase, but
you are going to still
you will when it fails. But at least you're not going to burn your car down. So
and like every other motor I've seen, when that happened, when the valve fails, you get some other escape path. So it's the old cars used to blow the cam seals out under the valve cover.
You pressurize, you get oil leaking from the rear main seal.
Yeah, rear main seal would start making a huge mess, and your clutch is slipping because you're it's one of those weird things to diagnose.
Or you blow some breather hose off somewhere along the block.
No, this one's just got a very unfortunate, very non-positive locking oil cap, and that is the weakest link in the system, it seems.
And this is kind of a comedy of errors with this, because the B9 specifically, the oil cap doesn't have a detent. So when you tighten it in its maximum tight position, it's just riding a ramp down, and the ramp stops. Now on the B8, the ramp goes down, and then there's a detent at the end. So the little spring clips that hold the oil cap to the valve cover, they actually snap into a detent. So I don't believe on a B8, if you had a PCV failure like this, that it would cause the oil cap to fall off because of the detent.
Never seen it.
But the B9 is just kind of tightened on this ramp, and so once you apply pressure, it loosens the spring pressure on the oil cap, and so it just gets pushed right off the ramp essentially. So creating a locking oil cap would be the first step, and just kind of like preventing the car from burning down.
A safety cap, but not.
It wouldn't
the issue.
Solve the core issue. I still don't like the factory oil cap on these either, and I think they will fall off eventually, just because there's nothing really holding them on. All right, hopefully that addresses that concern. Arnulfo Rodriguez shared his experience with his PCV failing, and he said he got a new one, and it sounds like the new one also was leaking. And he did have his oil cap pop off. So we're not just making this up. But anyways, glad to hear that it wasn't worse. And you can test the PCV with your mouth using a suck blow method. And essentially you want to suck on the various ends, and you want air to only flow in one direction at some point when you suck on it. But if you take a look at how things are vented, you'll see that one of the connections is connected to boosted air pressure from the intake, and you want that to only flow in one direction.
Yeah, it should come towards you, never into the oil crankcase.